I want to share what I learned from my bad experience with a landlord. And as soon as I got there, the landlord asked me to fill out a form. And I looked at the form, and there was so much personal information that I had to fill out, such as I understand about my driver's license, but my social security number. This guy, he was a professional. I mean, professional thief. And it doesn't require for him to know my social security number unless he's hiring me for a job and or something, or a credit card, or I'm taking a loan. You don't need to do that to do a background check or any check. You can do it with a driver's license. And it has so many information about my credit report, about so many things on the page. I told them when I got there, I can't fill out this form. He said, okay, fine. It was like to see if I'm gonna be a naive person, I'm gonna fall for it. He had it like a trap, bait and trap. So he was a nice person at first. He said, I'll come pick you up. But when I got there, I didn't see all these signs till it started getting bad and ugly, with disputes and people not being respectful. So then I thought, this is like he's running a scam, and he's trying to get people, to fill out that form. I don't know what he's going to do with it. So, but before I was advised, don't put your, personal information like that unless you are applying for a loan, or you're applying for a credit card, or somebody, a company, a real legitimate company needs to know your information to approve you, for a credit card or anything else. So this guy, he's somebody, I don't know him from Adams. He's just renting a room, not even an apartment. It's not like I'm renting a whole apartment. And it's through a company, a management company, nothing like that. And it went from bad to ugly to a disaster in the end. So luckily I was awake there, and I didn't, fill out those forms that he was giving me here. So just so you know, if it's not a real company, I would advise you not to do that, because somebody advised me that, and I kept that in my mind. And luckily, I remembered it and not fell for that trap. But either way, he took the whole month's rent. So that part, I messed up, because I try to save here and there, and Uber ride and things like that. So don't share your information, your personal information, for an individual that calls himself a landlord. He's a landlord, and he's a slumlord. He's not a real landlord. A real landlord, then it gets expensive, but a real landlord, he gives you an apartment, a month's rent, sign a lease, and he wasn't even giving me a real room, because he had panels there, and it was like cardboards dividing the room. But anyhow, so that's one thing. And then when he went to the store, and he said, I'll take you to the store. I told him, I'm planning to go and get some things. So he was trying to make a conversation, a small talk, and he's asking me personal questions. You know, I'm trying to give him general information about me, that I'm here, I'm exploring the place, the area, if it works out for me better, and try to maybe find a decent job and maybe get a car in the future. But he started asking me if I'm married, if I had a husband, if I had any children. I know people ask me in general, but this guy, he wants to know who who do I know. Then he started asking me if I have family here in the state of Florida. So he wants to know, if I have any family, so I thought that was too personal. Um, yeah, I kept giving him general information that he don't need to know. So then I felt like it's like you don't feel comfortable when somebody is like too much in your business too quickly. I only been there for a couple of days, not even. Um, and things like that. So yeah, don't trust people like that, because even if you're going to stay there temporarily, unless it's through a company or something. And from now on, if anytime I could use my credit card to make a payment, I'm gonna try to do that. And I'm gonna try to keep a good credit as much as I can. So, because in a way, your credit card protects you. It's like you buy something and it's defective, you take it back to the store, or you file a dispute, you file a claim, a dispute that, you know, you got something that was, it wasn't what was advertised. But with this guy, he wanted the rent in advance. Um, some of it, I feel I should have went in person, but see, the distance was far, so I thought I'm saving some money by not doing that. So my mistake at that part. But other than that, everything else, he was dishonest. If he sees something doesn't work out, it's not a good fit, an honest person would give you your prorated rent and would wish you good luck and goodbye. But at least I got my the secure deposit, so that was one thing. Other than that, so yeah, that's how it went. But so now, with this bad thing that happened, bad experience, I trust less and less of people who are not what you know what they say they are. They false advertise. So you have to be careful with the scam. He'd be saying like, I've been here 15 years. So yeah, you've been running a scam for 15 years, and he knows about all the what his benefit is, what's his he can get away with. you know so that was a lesson learned, and I wanted to share this with you. Don't give out too much of your information, you might regret it. And if you don't want to regret something, you can take back. So this time around, I was careful, and thank God, thankfully, I didn't share too much of my personal information, my driver's license, and that was plenty. So anyhow, well, let me know what you think. Would you trust someone from the internet, online advertising, from roommates, websites, and those websites where they advertise, Craigslist and all that? Sometimes you have to interview them also. You can see what type of people they are. Yeah. So anyhow, leave me a comment and let me know what you think. And this is what I have for you today. Please put a like and subscribe to my channel. And I see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.